the problem of existence and the first steps of philosophical thought. We know that Western philosophy began with Thales in the Aegean region in the 7th century BC. However, philosophical thought also developed at different times in other regions, such as India and China. From Thales to Socrates, one of the most fundamental problems of philosophy has been being. Being is the broadest concept, encompassing everything that exists. Everything that can be thought about, whatever it may be, is a being. Everything from imaginary beings like the Cyclops to the number 3, from Mount Ararat to a toothache, falls within the realm of being. The first big question of philosophy is what the origin of all these beings is. However, explanations about the source of being are not unique to philosophy. Such explanations are also made in myths. Questions about the origin of being are actually a legacy that philosophy has taken from mythological thought. This search stems from humanity's desire as intelligent beings to make sense of their surroundings and find a beginning. Mythologies are a product of this effort to make sense of the world. Of course, being is not the only issue that the first philosophers were interested in. However, there was an intense discussion about being during this period. The problem of being extends to a wide area, encompassing everything living and non-living. Philosophers sought answers to questions like, where did I come from? Where do I live? What was there in the beginning? What is the source of the diversity around me? How did diversity emerge? Is there a hidden order behind what we see? Can the complex structure of the universe be reduced to simpler elements? Before examining the philosophical answers given to these questions, let's touch upon the geography where these questions arose and what thoughts existed outside of philosophy. Mythological thought and the problem of being. In the pre-Socratic era, myths held an important place in the belief world of people living in city-states. Myths provided a framework for individuals to understand life and the world. Answers to questions about being, such as where did I come from and where do I live, were given through these myths. The founding of almost every city-state was based on a mythological story. And these stories were intertwined with religious ceremonies held in temples in the cities. Mythological thought is a reflection of humankind's quest to understand existence and the universe. The answers given to questions like who am I and how was the world formed reflect a way of thinking different from philosophical thought. The answers to these questions are shaped through gods in mythological narratives. Homer and Hesiod, the two great narrators of Greek mythology, created stories that explained the origin and order of being through gods. In Homer's works, the fundamental elements of the universe are explained with divine figures like Okeanos and Tethys, while in Hesiod, the beginning of everything is chaos. The driving force is Eros, and Gaia, meaning earth, stands out as the main element. The myths told by Hesiod serve to make sense of and guide the lives of people of that time. Information, especially practical information about agriculture, relating to the movement of the stars, guided farmers. For example, sowing times were determined by looking at the times when the Pleiades stars appeared or disappeared in the sky. In the mythological way of thinking, natural events and everything in the universe are associated with gods. Zeus's anger is linked to lightning and Poseidon's anger to storms and waves. Such explanations are similarly associated with sky gods in Mesopotamian mythology. This shows that mythological thinking establishes loose and arbitrary connections between events. Philosophical thought, on the other hand, establishes a tighter causal link between events and explains the world by producing concepts. The philosophers of the pre-Socratic era bring a different approach to the problem of being. According to them, the origin of diversity in the universe should be explained not through gods, but through what is observable and perceivable. One of the fundamental ideas accepted in this period is that nothing can come from nothing. This idea, expressed as ex nihilo nihil, fit in the Latin world, argues that being cannot emerge from nothingness, and that everything is based on a root element. This element, while gods in mythology, is the original element known as arca in philosophy. Concepts of being and arch in the pre-Socratic era. We are ready to understand the philosophers who addressed the problem of being in the pre-Socratic era. The three important thinkers of the Milesian school, Thales, Anaximander and Anaximenes, are the pioneers of this period and are generally referred to as natural researchers. These thinkers sought a scientific explanation for the nature and origins of the universe as an alternative to mythological thought. However, unlike mythological explanations, they tried to understand nature within its own limits without resorting to supernatural elements. According to them, there is an order in nature, and at the basis of this order lies a first cause or arche. Thales, considered the first philosopher, argued that the basis of everything in the universe is water. According to Thales, water is the source of all substances in the universe. When he said that water is the root of all things, he thought that the order in the universe could be explained by water, a natural element. Thales sought a universal order rather than explaining events individually. He also tried to explain natural events without resorting to supernatural causes. For example, the cause of earthquakes is not Poseidon, but the earth floating on water. Anaximander, who followed Thales, based the origin of being on an unlimited, undefined principle he called apeiron. Apeiron is the origin and end of all beings. According to Anaximander, everything in the universe originates from this unlimited principle and returns to it. Apeiron ensures diversity and order in the universe by containing opposites within itself. This abstract concept of Anaximander is based entirely on a theoretical foundation, not on observations. Anaximenes proposed air as the arch. According to him, all substances in the universe are formed through the condensation and rarefaction of air. Substances like water and earth emerge through the condensation of air. Thinner substances like fire are formed through its rarefaction. These quantitative transformations explain the qualitative differences in the universe. Furthermore, Anaximenes stated that humans can understand the universe by arguing that the human soul and the universe are made of the same substance. These philosophers tried to explain the order and origin of the universe by staying within nature, leaving aside supernatural explanations. The cause of storms is not Poseidon, but natural processes. Death occurs due to natural causes, not Apollo's arrows. This intellectual revolution marks the beginning of philosophy. Pythagoras is also an important philosopher of this period, but his views have a more mystical and religious character. Pythagoras believes that the soul is immortal and goes through a series of rebirths. The innovation Pythagoras brought to philosophy is moderation and proportion. According to him, the basis of the universe can be explained by numbers and ratios. Therefore, Pythagoras' arch is number. Heraclitus emphasizes the constant change in the universe and proposes that the fundamental element of the universe is fire. He argues that everything is in a process of conflict and transformation. According to him, the principle governing change in the universe is logos, meaning reason or law. According to Heraclitus, change is the permanent truth of the universe. Parmenides, however, opposes Heraclitus' idea of change. According to him, change is an illusion. Reality is permanent and motionless. Everything that exists, exists, and what does not exist, does not exist. Change means that something that does not exist comes into existence, which is absurd. With this thought, Parmenides argues that being is motionless and unchanging. These first philosophers developed different approaches to understanding the structure and origin of the universe. Each of them addressed nature and being in different ways, but their common point is their effort to base reality on a foundation comprehensible by reason, away from mythological explanations.